Hello and good afternoon. Welcome everyone to the Sick of This Show, the Intelligent Masculinity series. I'm Nick Perro, and I am joined by someone a lot of you may already know. He's a good friend of mine. He is the co-founder at Banner and Backbone with me. He leads Gen XE with Dana Dubois, and he does science fiction writing. He works at Blue Amp Media and is all around a badass. Lawrence Winnerman, welcome, my friend. How are you today?
Hello. I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
You know, good. As good as one can be during, like I said, pre-show, during the rise of fascism and the collapse of our standard society. Um, I'm good because I'm moving forward and I'm trying to make an impact.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
and I'm hoping that this series does that. So for anyone who's new here, and I'm going to have Lawrence introduce himself, but then the story of today is pretty much about Lawrence all around, and I'm going to be asking Lawrence some top level questions, and then we're going to dig into his story over the next hour. This is the third installment of the Intelligent Masculinity series. So far, we've had Shane Urick and Sherrod Swaney. But join us or join me. I use the royal us. No, Natalie, this is not just for men. For those in the chat, this is not just for men. This is for men and women, but this is targeted towards men so that we can define examples of what intelligent masculinity is and what it means to be a scholar warrior, and what it means to be actioning on your masculinity and learning and growing, and the positivity that that can bring to others around you. So this is a discussion that's welcoming to all, focused on men so that we can better ourselves. Because I have a theory around fragile masculinity versus intelligent masculinity. And I'm working on this interview series through my friends and colleagues and people I have met along the way who are intelligently masculine. And Lawrence, you're one of those. And I would love for you just to introduce yourself, because I've had a great time getting to know you over the last months, 6, 7 months almost now, and or however long it's been. But it feels like I've known you for a lot longer. And hopefully I get to know you even more through this, and everyone else does too. So, Lawrence, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, not at all. Well, thanks for having me. I am honored to be considered intelligently masculine, I guess. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, Nick. Anything that you're doing is something that I want to support, and so it sounds like a great project. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see where the conversation goes.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? Tell people about me? What's next?
Just give a little intro of who you are and what you do here on in Substack World, but what your impact is for the community.
Sure. I'll address that as best I can, I guess. I have had a career over the course of the last 30-ish years, 25 years in tech program management, mostly in like Fusen, hi, all kinds of
We have some amazing folks
names
in the chat today.
Yeah, this is a great chat we've got going. Yeah, so I spent my career at some big tech companies out on the West Coast, and moved back to Fort Wayne, Indiana, where my family is, a couple of years ago, to just kind of be near them and kind of help out my mom as she gets older. Through that, and through kind of the weird changes that are happening in the job market, I found myself massively underemployed, and was able to kind of use that time to start Gen XE and the Daily Whatever show with my bestie Dana Dubois, who I've known for 47 years. And I'm not like making up that number. We've literally
I'm so glad that you have a friend since childhood.
Yeah, since childhood. Yeah, and through the course of that, met you and Melissa Corrigan, and a ton of people, ton of amazing people. you and I and Fred Pogue started Banner and Backbone, and got introduced to Cliff Schechter over at Blue Amp Media, and started working with them. I'm now the chief operating officer over at Blue Amp, and trying to kind of grow that into a big network that is going to help elevate and amplify voices throughout our community and other communities that need amplification. And oh wow, Ramona, hi, you're in Fort Wayne as well. Me too. I'm a southwest quadrant of the city. We should go grab coffee at some point and commiserate about being some of the few liberals in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Be less isolated together.
Yeah, we could be isolated together, exactly. When it goes down, I'll know who my emergency contact is.
Hey, you got to have one.
Right.
Got to have an emergency contact.
Yeah. So yeah, that's me. I love technology. I love to kind of experiment around with things. I sell t-shirts at alpacalunch.com because I thought it would be fun to have a place where I could design my own t-shirts and sell them. And yeah, that's me.
I love it. So thank you for joining me, Lawrence. And thank you also for being part of this space that I have come to know really well as a really fun and energetic and thoughtful community. All because I jumped into listening to Melissa Corrigan on a live with you and Dana on your Gen Xe. And that's how I entered the community. Was I saw Melissa's name pop up and I was like, oh, I know that name. I'll go into a live and see what she's talking about. And it was amazing. And I've been there almost every day since that Dana and Lawrence do their show. It's one of my favorite places to be in the morning. I know a lot of my subscribers come from the Gen Xe base too, and know me from the chat and have grown to know me throughout the months that I've been here. And Lawrence, you and I got to know each other in a really good way through all of this. And I'm glad for that friendship that we're having, and being able to build. And so
yeah,
I wanted to be able to ask, like I said, some of my friends and colleagues about their experiences and journeys and how they became the men that they are today, and how that they were influenced throughout their lives, what it means to be intelligently masculine, how do they model it, these types of questions, as well as a little bit of fun, because it's not me without a little bit of fun and a little bit of positivity, which is we base our final question set of Be a Man from the Mulan song, Be a Man, which I still have not gotten the audio clips for. Before I ask each question, I wanted to do that, like super short question audio. That said, Mulan was a great movie musical that, in my opinion, at least for a clarion call song for men. Instead of women have Let's Go Girls, we have Be a Man. And that one stuck with me. So there's a couple questions about the song, but about how it impacts your life, and maybe you view it from a different angle other than, say, the physical. As we go through
confession, Nick.
Yeah.
Just as you have not seen the musical Hamilton, I have not seen Mulan.
God damn it, Lawrence. Okay. Have you listened to the song Be a Man though?
I have not. It's kind of crazy, right? Because I love Disney. I'm like, who doesn't love Disney? And like Beauty and the Beast, and I mean, like, name any other Disney movie. I've seen it. For some reason, Mulan came out at a time in my life where I wasn't going to the movies regularly, and I missed it, and I've never seen it. So,
well, the song's name is actually "I'll Make a Man Out of You," but everybody knows it as Be a Man, basically. And so I am rather shocked that you have not listened to the song.
I mean, I'm gonna right after this show. But quote me the lyrics, and you can get my instantaneous reaction.
You must be swift as a coursing river, with all the force of a great typhoon, and mysterious as the dark side of the moon.
Ooh.
are part of the lyrics. And those are the question set for you, part of it. So let's dig into it. So everyone who's joining us, welcome. This is Intelligent Masculinity. I'm Nick Perro, not your dad, over here on Sick of This Shit
Oh,
Publications.
I just saw that. What's going
Uh,
on, Nick? Not your
Mo-
dad.
Melissa had one on for the Rant Act, was your mom. And so I figured I was her guest and co-host, and I put it as not your dad. And it's sort of stuck with me now.
Nice. I should
So I
change
love
mine
it.
to not actually Santa Claus.
I've been asked if I was that too. I am jolly and kind of fluffy. So,
Yeah.
and I have a big beard. It is starting to whiten, nowhere near as much as beautiful silver as yours.
Oh, yeah.
I know you don't feel happy about that.
I don't. I keep using the shampoo that's supposed to like naturally get the follicles to start producing melanin again, and it's not working. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that happens. I'm trying to, so just so everyone knows, I'm not playing the song through the show because I don't want to do copyright infringement and I want to be able to post this afterwards. And I don't want Disney to sue me for some reason because you never know. It's Disney.
right.
But the evil mouse will come get us one day. That said, let's talk about masculinity and our experiences with it and what it means to us, because I want Lawrence's opinion. And then at the end of all of this, what I'm doing, this is where it builds from, is each of the shows will get a full written um, or a full write up about it and what we've talked about and our themes and some of the things that we've discussed. And then at the end of the series, Shane Yurick is going to interview me to close out the series, and I'm going to encapsulate it into a couple sets of articles going deep dive into what we've learned and what I've found throughout this process and what it means to be an intelligent man and how we can show others actively right now how to do it and positively impact their lives, their communities' lives, their families' lives, their friends' lives, our nation's life, like the world's life. Like this could change the world if men just accept that we have feelings and we can care.
I love it. That
So
was great.
let's get into it, Lawrence. So my first question for you, and this is going to be a two-part question, but first we'll start with the first part. Is who has been the most influential male figure in your life and why?
Oh no.
It doesn't have to be for a positive reason either.
Right.
If there is a negative influence that has been most influential, that is okay too, because I want to know like what your experiences to masculinity have been that have brought you to where you are.
Yeah, my mom, I guess. My dad died when I was 14, really unexpectedly. And my mom, stepped in, and she'd only recently gone back to work, right? So I was 14, my sister was 11. She had only recently returned to work. And suddenly, my dad died, and she had to keep a roof over our heads and get us fed and make sure that we, were educated, and that, Christmas and Hanukkah still happened, and all that stuff. And she did, and it's been interesting for a really long time. I've always thought her birthday is near Father's Day. It usually kind of falls around Father's Day. And I, joked for a really long time that Father's Day was, also celebrating my mom because she, stepped up and stepped in. And I think maybe, the lesson there and the sort of, like gender fuck of it all is that some of the lessons that you can learn about masculinity and traditionally male roles may come from the women in your lives. And in my case, it, very much came from my mom sort of stepping in and being dad too. And, when I think about kind of the things that I know, right, the things that I can do in the world, I can cook because of my mom, because I learned from her. I can build things and fix things because of my mom, because of what I learned from her. My dad, like, in no way kind of taking away anything from my dad. He was a great guy. He was very intellectual, right? So the things that I learned from him were, about like astronomy and science and classical music and, Walt Whitman and like reading the classics. Like that was sort of my dad's territory. And my mom's territory was sort of how to exist in the physical world. And so yeah, I think when you ask the question, I really didn't have an answer, an immediate answer. I think, maybe unconventionally, it's my mom.
Not actually unconventional so far in the two previous interviews either.
Hmm.
Both have had positive male figures in their lives. One was not a parent. Sherrod had a positive influence that was a musician rather than his father, somebody who actually took a male role for him creatively and showed him how to be creative, which it sounds like your dad did too.
Yeah.
In ways when you were younger and when he was part of your life. And I'm sorry that he passed away when you were young, because it seems like he would have been able to be a positive male influence throughout your young adulthood and adulthood had he been there. And it's unfortunate to hear that you lost your father like that. It's also really good to hear that you had a mom who was strong enough and is strong enough to have raised you on all sides of the um, gender spectrum, I guess,
Yeah.
in terms of like roles, because I don't see them as gendered roles anymore either in my life, because my wife and I both assume multiple different roles throughout the house all the time. It sounds like your mom gave you an example of how to do that. And both Jared and Shane and myself all agreed that there was a female influence in our life that was just as, if not more important, at many points than our dad, or
Hmm.
times than our male figure. So I'm glad you actually brought in the female side of it and the powerful female figure in your life. Um, can you talk about maybe one of the most um, impactful lessons that you've been able to gain from your mom around how to manage yourself emotionally as a man or
Hmm.
as just a human?
Nick, these are stumpers. My goodness, I should have
I'm
studied.
here for you, brother.
um, you know, well, I'm gonna be subversive and I'm gonna derail and
Oh, go for it.
not quite answer that question. Because what's coming to my mind is the other figure in my life that I might have named would be Dieter Murphy, who was
Okay.
the first openly gay man that I ever knew. And it does actually tie back to your question. Dieter was the manager of the Walden Books store that I got a job at when I was 16. He was the first openly gay man that I'd ever met. And for me, as a gay man who was not yet out, like was as far from out as could possibly be, I learned a lot from Dieter, and I did learn about emotional control from him because part of what I learned from observing him and getting to talk to him was that at the time, so this was mid 1980s, it was not safe to be an out gay man. And, um, uh, you know, as kind of sad and problematic as that lesson may sound now, it was a valuable lesson. Like I saw him code switch, right? Like I saw him, be relaxed and sort of a little more flamboyant when talking with us, the people who worked at the store, or with his friends. And then I saw him sort of put on the oh, this, of course, this is a straight man that, like his voice changed, and, his face changed, and his body movements changed. And so that kind of lesson around code switching and being cognizant of the audience that you are addressing, even when the audience might just be patrons at a bookstore, right? I learned that from him, and that is very much tied to, I think, a certain amount of emotional control. And I might argue that many queer folks learn the lesson of emotional control from a relatively early age, because especially in the 70s and 80s and 90s, before things started to get more liberal, and God forbid, now, as it seems like things are sliding backwards, trying to understand how to share your masculinity and share your masculine traits, and project those, and try to put on a front that conforms with what social expectations are. That's a lesson that I absolutely learned from Dieter. Something that I think is innately maybe programmed into us, but something that I learned from him for sure. So
I think that's a really important lesson you were talking about, especially on the code switching
mhm.
and self protection, but also how I'm going to come at this from I'm straighter than Lawrence is. And
It's not a competition, Nick.
it's not a competition, but but for for us, it doesn't matter. Like Lawrence being gay, straight, anywhere in between, it doesn't matter. For other people, it might. And Lawrence, can you talk to me about like how that makes you, how you feel about having to hide yourself at times, and do you feel like we I do you feel like there is a way that forward from where we are right now in this moment in history where we don't have to hide who we are? Do you see
Mm.
do you see the walls closing in, and are you losing hope, or do you think that there are still paths that we as men who can express our emotions can teach others to do the same work that we've been doing?
Yeah, well, I do see the walls closing in, for sure, and I am losing hope. Simultaneous to that, I remain hopeful. I am, this, I'm a science fiction writer
Mhm.
and a huge, huge fan of science fiction. I uh, personally believe in the many worlds theory construct of, quantum mechanics. And I also kind of believe in God, I believe in miracles, right? And so I do think that we are not unrecoverable. I think that there are many, many paths towards, whatever, salvation is maybe not the right word, but kind of getting us back to a place. I could easily see the pendulum swinging back, and this being a moment of, profound liberation, right? Um, but I kind of look at what's happening around us, and it does scare me, and it does, make me kind of start to feel the deep isolation that existed when I was, I was screamingly depressed growing up, and actively contemplated suicide, nearly, at one point in my 20s, carried it out because I was horribly, horribly alone, like really, really profoundly alone, and didn't feel any hope of connection. And so I, there are moments where I look at what's happening now, and I think about how kids born at this moment are going to have to experience the next 10, 15, 20 years. And it does scare me, for their sake and for all of our sakes. I I hope that we can change things and make it better. But I think that we are living in a particularly precarious moment in time where things could go really, truly, horribly awry. And if you look at history, in some ways it seems almost kind of foreordained that we are going to go through a time of strife akin to the world wars or the Civil War or the American Revolution. And I don't know how we escape that path. I don't know how we escape it without bloodshed. And God, there was a first part to your question that was a little more hopeful that I was excited to answer, but I started at the last part and now I've forgotten.
No, it's okay, because I think part of being, in my mind, part of being intelligently masculine is understanding where and accepting and talking about what we're afraid of and the things that make us afraid, not only the things that make us joyful. And yeah, Ogre, welcome, my friend. Punch Nazis until the
What's up,
Nazis go
Ogre?
away. You will be seeing the opinionated Ogre for one of these discussions too. He's one of my upcoming guests in early February.
Nice.
I'm excited for that. Thank you for introducing me to Ogre too a while ago, Lawrence. I
Of
also
course.
appreciate that. Like, this is part of the
The joy
communities
of
we grow.
Substack.
Yeah, we grow and learn together, and we get to experience all these fun things and make new friends. And so to me, intelligent masculinity is partially, anyways, is being able to accept that we are afraid and talk about it and talk about all of our emotions so that we can go through them and
Yeah.
so that we can process them. And I'm afraid too. I think there's a lot that could go awry, like you said. And I'm hopeful that what we're doing is going to make an impact,
Mhm.
because we're not just sitting back and saying, oh, it's going to happen. We're going to let it happen. Then we'll fight it off at the end. Is we're coming out now before it happened, before it got too bad, and saying the things that need to be said. And you're a big part of that. You've helped guide me along that path. So to me, or to you, what does intelligent masculinity mean?
Hmm. I mean, in a way that maybe I hope doesn't blow up your construct. I think it means saying who gives a fuck about masculinity and femininity and gender norms. I when I was in when I was in school, when I was still in the closet, I was absolutely terrified that somebody would clock me as gay and say it, right, and that I would be known for that. And so I learned a lot about code switching and sort of how to present as more mask. And even in the gay community, there's a lot of toxic masculinity. There are guys out there who are like, oh, mask for mask. They assert that they are masculine and they are searching for other masculine men, and that's their jam. That's what they get off on. And I honestly think there's such unbelievable liberation in saying fuck it and just you know um people say to me all the time now, like, oh, I'd have no idea that you were gay. And I'm like, really? Like, I fucking talk about Drag Race all the time, and I'm prone to singing show tunes, and I kind of have like a sort of lispy thing maybe. And like, okay, no, like I'm Gold Star, baby. I've never been with a woman. I'm as gay as you can get.
Yeah.
uh you know and and I just don't care. And I honestly think it's confidence, right? And it's self-knowledge, and it's understanding who you are at a deep enough level that you're just unwilling to pretend anymore for society writ large. And so you show up as your authentic self, and people respond to that authenticity. And I think somehow that gets perceived as masculine. I would argue that it probably gets perceived as feminine too, because on a body that looks more classically female defined, I think authenticity probably just looks feminine. I think
Mhm.
what people are really responding to is, you are a genuine person who is showing up in your skin and with your full soul, and that is appealing from person to person. um so I don't even remember what the question was.
No, is what is your what
So
is
bad
it?
at this, Nick.
No, you are good. You're defining it yourself, dude. Don't play yourself down here. You're defining intelligent masculinity to yourself, what it means to you. And you've given a really good, I think, idea on it. And no, it actually doesn't blow up my thesis at all on
Oh, good.
this. I think it fits right in with what I'm talking about and with what I'm discussing. And my overall thought, if I like ground it down into just its here's its root or its root definition, and our baseline is intelligent masculinity is the refusal to outsource your accountability onto others and the discipline to live with the consequences of your values and actions.
Yeah, no, that's a good definition. Um,
And
yeah,
I think yours fits well with that because fuck it, in the way that you're saying it, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong here, and I'll pose this as a question. When you say fuck it, you're not saying fuck it as in, I don't care at all about things. It's fuck it. Let me live my life as me, and I take accountability for myself.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And and I'm no longer trying to conform to what other people expect of me. I'm so glib in making it sound like, oh, it's just so simple, and it's not. Of course, it's a struggle every day. Just like nobody told me with coming out that coming out was not a thing that you do once and then everything is rainbows and unicorns and street parades. It's coming out as a thing you do every day, time after time, every time you meet a new person. And I, am certain that being intelligently masculine or being authentic is a thing that you consciously have to choose all day, every day, right? Your life is made up of a billion tiny little choices, and it's how you present and react and show up in your life in the most simple and straightforward ways. From like the moment you're pumping gas and kind of how you treat that person that you're paying at the gas station to, um, you know, how you're, presenting to your family or I don't know, like everything.
So, what do you do? The next question that I have in this discussion is how do you model it for yourself? How do you model on a daily basis for yourself and for others around you? Because when you model it for yourself, you become a model for others by default. Um, of whatever your behavior is, you're a model of that behavior. And so, how do you model intelligent masculinity on a daily basis in your own life?
Oh my God, I mean, she told us XXX is Morgan X. Morgan, hi, it's been
Hey,
ages.
what's up,
Good to see
Morgan?
you. And Ogre is saying I need to ask him about the three people that came out to him. Okay, I will do that, Ogre, I promise. Um, I I don't know. I don't know that I model it for myself, Nick. I think that I literally struggle with it every single day. I think showing up as my authentic self is fucking hard. And part of what I learned growing up, there were a lot of social messages about safety and about being punished for authentic expression. Not from my family necessarily, although, I don't know, maybe some, but from society overall. And so showing up authentically and showing up kind of as authentically masculine in the way that I want to. Here's a secret, Nick, that I will tell you. Don't tell anybody else. I am overflowing with self doubt. I don't know that ever a creature has existed on this earth that doubts itself more than I do. Um, so any confidence that I project into the world is absolutely a fake it till you make it kind of thing. I constantly think that I am doing the wrong thing. And I'm working in my life to accept the fact that I am in fact not doing the wrong thing, maybe sometimes, that I can do the right thing and that I can choose to do the right thing, but I'm always and completely in full and radical doubt of what I am doing. Yeah.
No,
How do you like them apples?
I I I think that's okay. Like, it's your experience and your journey. Like, I live with doubt too all the time. I don't look like it. I'm out here putting on a my most often most positive face that I can for things, and making and ensuring that I live up to some of the standards I want to live up to. But I doubt myself all the time. It's imposter syndrome. We go through imposter syndrome all throughout our lives. Most of us, every single day, every single thing we do, in some way, we feel like an imposter. Um,
Yeah.
and so, to me, part of intelligent masculinity, just in part, really, it's part of intelligent humaning and better humaning in general. But for our discussion on men and us trying to better our side of the aisle and our side of the gender equation, because let's just admit that a lot of men are not doing well right now. And they are outsourcing their accountability onto others and
Yeah.
saying, you need to be accountable for me. I don't. Whereas Lawrence, just your introspective thought of, is this, am I, like, you question yourself and you ask, and yet you still do it. And I want to compliment on you on it. Any too is you still come out and do it. Like, even if you question yourself, even if you're doubting yourself, you're still doing it. And that takes courage.
Yeah, I think it would have made a huge difference in my life if ever anyone had maybe pulled me aside and said, hey kid, hey kid, everyone is a fucking imposter. Nobody knows what they're doing. The point is, you make your choices and you do them, and like you said, you live with the consequences, you accept the consequences, you deal with them, and but this ideal that we have, that a powerful man, a powerful person is going to stride into the world, with no cares or worries, and know exactly what needs to be done in every situation. Like, my God, I would love to be able to embody that, and
Mm-hmm.
that has never been my experience. Everything has been, well, I don't know how to do that, and so I'm just gonna figure it out, even though it is absolutely fucking terrifying. And if I get it wrong, hopefully nobody captures it on video, and I don't become character of the week on the internet. Like, that's, and I guess that's the best that I can do.
I love that. I love it. Like, the thing is, you're afraid. You're using your courage. You're being courageous by doing these acts even while you're afraid. And you're willing to grow from it. It sounds like, because one of the questions, and that's, I think, to me, that's one of the big differences between fragile masculinity and intelligent masculinity, or old and new masculinity, is old masculinity clings to this idea of ego,
Mhm.
and it's driven by ego and self-centeredness, whereas new masculinity and intelligent masculinity and intentful masculinity looks at yourself and goes, how do I better myself? And is this the right choice? Am I doing the right thing? Is this good enough for myself? Do I live up to my own values? So, what do you do in your life? I know you say you have a hard time thinking about how you model it for yourself, even though you gave a really good explanation of how you model intelligent masculinity daily without realizing it. Is, how do you self reflect and self evaluate yourself in your own life so that you can grow?
I'm prone to have nightmares.
Okay.
I mean, I wish I was joking. Like I am a very active dreamer. I'm not a lucid dreamer. I once or twice I've managed to do that. I have a lot of dreams, and uh, many of them are nightmares, and they are often about the things that I'm uh, have done wrong during the day, right, or decisions that come back to haunt me, and uh, I that I think that makes me reflective. It's sort of a forced reflection, and I write. I don't write as much as I used to, and trying to kind of decode and decipher those dreams and the things that I'm feeling about them. I this is a tangent, but I had a thought as you were asking the question, that in a way, a lot of what I sort of view as intelligent masculinity, or just good personhood is sort of in a parental model, which is funny because, as a gay dude, I don't have any kids. My sperm has never been remotely in a situation where there was an ovum, possibly available. I'm quite certain that I don't have any progeny roaming around the world.
That's fair.
But
Better than some men.
honestly, yeah, seriously, way better than some men. Um, but that the idea of taking pride in another person's accomplishments and how comfortable you are with being able to do that, I think is a really good indicator of um, how well your head is screwed on, right? Because I think about like the job of a dad, right? And the kind of father who can take inordinate pride in the accomplishments of their children without needing to claim that accomplishment as their own, right? Like the idea that I can raise a human into adulthood who may surpass all of my skills and abilities and intelligence and accomplishments. And not only am I okay with that, but I celebrate it and do not need like the reflected glory of that, or don't need to claim that glory. I am just thrilled, right? And I have been a manager on a team where like the thing that made me most proud was the somebody who reported to me succeeding bigger than I could, and celebrating that success, and and promoting that person, right, getting them into a position ultimately on a track that may even be more successful than me. And I think how a person deals with situations like that says a lot about who they are as a person overall. And maybe there's this sort of like good parent bad parent dynamic there, right? Like a bad father would hold their child back or try to steal their glory, or try to claim the rewards from what their child has done. Like, oh, you're successful, you made $1 million, you owe me, right? Like I could never imagine being a parent or a type of person who looked at their kid and said like, oh, here's the bill for 18 years of clothing and feeding you. Like that's gross. And so I kind of think, maybe one of my answers to your question of what intelligent masculinity means is like, it's the good father, it's the supportive father, it's the father who would happily take on the the role of support and and champion and cheerleader, to see a child succeed above and beyond, and not need the glory. Whereas bad masculinity, fragile, toxic masculinity wants to claim everything as its own. Toxic masculinity is colonial and imperialist and must claim all that it surveys as its own. And that's not the kind of person I ever want to be. And of course, I'm saying all of this and thinking the same things apply to femininity and motherhood as well, right? We all know examples of mothers who are controlling and manipulative and want to claim their child's success, and other mothers who whose existence is kind of defined by seeing their child fly far above and beyond their own accomplishment. So
No, I think that's great. I've always looked up to leaders who identify with the philosophy of the way that a leader is reviewed and defined is by how well they improve others around them and
right,
make life or work or processes or availabilities open and available for others around them, because it's a leader isn't about you the person, it's about the group and
right,
how well the group thrives. And so it sounds like you really use that as a way to reflect and model your own ideas of leadership. Yeah, servant leadership
right.
is I guess is the normal term for it, or the common term, I would say. Um, and it's all, but to me, it's just leadership is service towards others. Like that's the implyment, or that's the implied definition to me. And when we get into leadership, one of the great movies talking about leadership that Lawrence has not watched, and we get to talk shit about with each other now, because I have not watched Hamilton and he has not watched Mulan.
Yeah.
And these,
Another great play about leadership that you haven't watched.
which one other than Hamilton? I've watched tons of plays.
Yeah, no,
I'll take
you
you
know
on.
that. One of these
It's
days, Nick, one of these
one
days,
of these days.
I'm gonna have enough cash on hand that I'm gonna buy you and your family tickets to Hamilton. We're gonna go to that motherfucking play, and you are gonna love it. And you're gonna be like, the scales have fallen from my eyes. I finally get it.
I will get there. I will get there. And you need to watch Disney's Mulan,
I will.
because
That's an easier
awesome.
problem. That's just like a pay-per-view thing, probably.
Yeah, if you've got Disney Plus still for some reason, you can, if you had it on something else and it was given to you for free for a while, definitely watch Mulan. It's worth it.
Yeah.
And this final set of questions, like I said, is based around the Mulan's most famous song, which is the clarion call for men, which is "I'll make a man out of you" or "Be a man." And so I get to ask my friends what these questions mean to them, because I take them out of context of the physical side and more on the masculinity side, and how it defines some of my choices through emotions and intelligence and decision making. And so I want to get your answers. They're a little whimsical, so don't have to be too serious.
Mhm.
Is what does it mean to be as swift as a coursing river?
Hmm. I want to go all, like metaphysical and talk about the movement of atoms and how how atoms are mostly empty space. Well, no, I think there, for me, I would define that as just being present in your life in such a way that you can adapt to changing circumstances on the fly, right? Like, I don't know, I wouldn't interpret it necessarily as like actual physical speed, but more as the ability to kind of think on your feet and make quick analysis of the experiences that you're having. Oh gosh, I feel like there's something really profound just beyond the reach of my tongue. All right. Next question. Maybe it'll come to me.
It'll come to you. That's what he said.
Yeah, no, seriously, phrasing.
We're always doing phrasing.
We're always doing phrasing.
If you've
Something
ever,
just beyond the reach of my tongue. Yeah, there you go.
if anyone's ever caught Fred, Pogue, Lawrence, Winnerman, and I together, you all understand we always do phrasing, especially when we're together.
Mhm.
So my next one is another sort of, and go metaphysical if you want. I love it. Is how do you personally embody the force of a great typhoon?
Is this a family show?
No, it is a masculinity show.
Pass.
Okay, we'll move on. Moving to the next $200 question
Yeah.
on Final Jeopardy, is I'm going to add in an extra one because that's actually, there's 4 parts to this lyric. It's as swift as a great typhoon, swift as a coursing river, force of a great typhoon, as fierce as a raging fire. So, how are you as fierce as a raging fire? What would that mean to you on a daily, on like a life basis?
Okay. I'm going to unpass, and I'm going to say I will only say it like this. The way in my life in which I show up as the force of a great typhoon has been through the sexual experience of surrender and embracing the sacred feminine, and yeah, without getting very graphic and X-rated, I'll leave it there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you were willing to answer that question.
Yeah. I mean, that's where my brain goes, right? Is that nothing has changed me more than learning how to be an amazing bottom, if I do say so myself.
Hey, isn't part of our sexuality finding who we are and understanding
Absolutely.
who we
I
are
mean,
as men and what we
it's
enjoy?
really only been in the last couple of years that I've truly understood that and embraced it. And yeah, being in touch with my sacred feminine side is the most profound thing that I've ever done or experienced.
I love that. I love that for you, Lawrence. I'm
Mhm.
glad you shared that. Thank you. Building on that, then, with phrasing, is how are you as fierce as a raging fire in your life?
Well, I don't know that this necessarily fits the metaphor of fire, but I would say that I am fiercely loyal to the people and things that I love. And um, I may come across as mild mannered oftentimes, but if you cross my people, I will burn you. Like if you cross my people or my values or my country, I will absolutely burn you the motherfuck down. Um, and maybe not like a fire, because fire is very immediate and present and raging and spreads quickly. I'm a little more ice fire, I suppose. I can wait and I can strategize. And if you think that I have forgotten that you have betrayed me and or my people, you are a fool, and I will burn you down.
Love it. I love it. Thank you. Happy Lawrence. Gentle Lawrence after that. And now, this is my favorite one of the questions. This
Okay.
is more of a metaphysical question and a little bit more esoteric. How are you as mysterious as the dark side of the moon?
Well, I mean, I don't think that we actually exist. In my deep philosophy, I think that we are all actually fundamentally part of the same entity. I think that separation and distance and otherness is an illusion. I think that we are all parts of something massively greater, and that we are not small and diminished by that, but that we are um, all absolutely gigantic. I think that there's an interesting, not test, but I really, I think the moment that somebody stands in front of the Grand Canyon for the first time, right, or maybe the ocean, does it make you feel small or does it make you feel gigantic? And I am one of those weird people, I suppose, who I stand at the edge of the Grand Canyon first time I stood there at the edge of the Grand Canyon, I thought, my God, I am bigger than this. And I think that we all are. And, if that's true, then there can't be any separation between us, that we are all fundamentally part of the same thing. And that if, I mean, God, I'm going to sound like fucking Jesus Christ. Like if you hurt somebody else, you're hurting yourself, right? If you hurt the other, you hurt yourself. And, the call for us to kind of care for one another is, just basically like, hey man, don't fucking slam your own hand in the door, don't set your own fucking face on fire. Like, just, be good to each other, because we're all really fundamentally the same thing, having this experience together, and we're pretending like we're different people, but we're not. So I suppose my mysteriousness is in the fact that I don't actually think that I exist, nor do I think that you exist or anybody else. I think we are all shadows on the wall of Plato's cave, not actually representing the true essence of our nature.
I think that's really interesting. And I really like that discussion, especially around connectedness, because I'm not religious, but I am spiritual, and I believe in us being connected. And I do very much value that idea of when you hurt someone else, you end up hurting yourself. And we're seeing that right now in the US really, really blatantly, is when you're willing to hurt others, that same hurt is going to come back onto you too. And there's a better path forward. And I think folks like Lawrence are that path forward. Learning from my friend Lawrence is a path forward. Learning to be a little bit more questioning of yourself is a path forward. Learning to admit you have faults and be afraid and talk about those is a path forward. And I think, Lawrence, you embody a lot of those. And hopefully this discussion today with everyone in our chat here on Substack and on Twitch and YouTube, I hope you all have learned something from Lawrence today, and that it's okay to question yourself. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to do all of those things and self-reflect, because you're modeling for yourself a lesson in growth and a lesson of masculinity that isn't ego dominant, but is okay to be happy with who you are, and that it's okay to be who you are. And you don't have to fight it.
Well, that was a good setup, Nick, because I'd like to announce that I'm starting a church, and
are you?
For tax exempt status, and I'll be sending you all emails asking you to donate to Church of Lawrence.
Well, it's funny you say that.
You're starting a church. Are you starting a church?
I've actually thought about it.
Are we all going on a big camping trip to Guyana together to drink Kool-Aid?
No, I'm actually hoping to do the Church of the Constitution. We've talked about this before. We should do the Church of the Constitution, and that we just make them our sacred documents, because then you're fucking with our religious freedoms.
Yeah,
and you can't do that here.
Can I just say something to Ogre?
And it's tax-free.
The opinionated Ogre never misses a chance to call me old. I'm 55, bro. I'm not that old. To listen to Ogre talk, I'm like 87.
Yeah, I'm dying over Christmas.
Really old gay guy.
Lawrence is the ghost of Christmas past, is what Ogre is saying. He is the old ghost of Christmas past.
Right.
I'm here to haunt you, young man.
Yeah. Wrapped in chains, beard down to my knees. Totally.
Beard down to your knees, wrapped in chains. That sounds like the opening line of a song.
Oh, sorry. That was just last Saturday night. I'm getting I'm having a K-hole flashback.
Oh my gosh, Lawrence, this has been such a fun hour to get to talk with you. And I know we both have some stuff to go do. And so what I'm going to do here is I want to give you the chance for this final couple moments to please sell yourself, and the work that you're doing, the things that you're doing, and let everyone know where they can find you and support your work.
Well, thank you, Nick. That's very generous. I don't know what to say. Here's the truth. I'm working for Blue Amp as the COO. I am pouring my heart and soul into growing that into something big for all of us, right? I really want this community that we've built on Substack to have a platform upon which we can all, I don't know, shout from the mountaintops, right? That it's a place where any good idea will be welcomed and can find a place to reach out to a bigger audience. And so please support Blue Amp and please support Gen Xe and the Daily Whatever show, the show that I do with Dana every weekday. We're not doing Saturdays anymore because we decided we both needed a break.
You guys work too hard.
You know, we love our show. We love our community. We had an incredible show this morning. You were there, Nick. We had Bree Fram on, who is was forced out of the Space Force because she's trans, and is just absolutely amazing and eloquent.
Really powerful discussion.
Incredible, right? And then we had a twofer today. We had Ann. Oh my God, I'm totally blanking. Sorry, Ann Mitchell, Ann P. Mitchell, who is an attorney, was Stanford a dean at Stanford Law. Just absolutely brilliant to talk to us about Minneapolis and what's going on there. And it's a great place to learn things and to meet interesting people. And we have a super fun and active chat, which is how a lot of these people know each other, through Nick's show and through our show. And if you could support those things that are very dear to me, that would be great. Because kind of like we've talked about, I'm building it because I want it to be there for people to, all of us, kind of yell together that we are not kind of going into the dark night of authoritarianism and tyranny, that we can fight back, and reclaim American democracy.
Love it. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you for being with us, or with me, with the crowd, with the audience. Thank you for talking about yourself and letting us all learn more about you and being part of this discussion. And also, go support Lawrence's personal Substack too, where he does his science fiction. I know he hasn't written there in a little while, but the science fiction that he has there is incredible. And it's a little eerie on how dystopianly close it is to some of the situations you're in. So don't find yourself in a nightmare while you're reading it, because it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's by the way, I'm going to be updating it soon.
Awesome.
I will add more content, and I'm also going to kind of restructure it, because it's going to that Substack is just going to be more me and my writing. It will be science fiction still, of course, because that's most of what I write. But it'll be less sort of science fiction themed. It'll just be like Lawrence Winnerman spills his guts or whatever.
Love it. I love that you're putting yourself out there. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, everyone in the audience who's been with us.
Thanks, everybody.
On Substack, please hit the subscribe button in the top left corner. Subscribe to Lawrence. Get all of his great content. Come watch Gen Xe every morning for the Daily Whatever. Go watch Blue Amp Media stuff. I absolutely support and advocate for them as a network. They're a great platform. They have a lot of my friends work there, and they are supporting our community in a lot of ways and amplifying so many voices. So Lawrence, thank you so much. I appreciate you, my friend.
I appreciate you.
In this great conversation. Everyone, have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll talk all again soon. Thanks, y'all.